Okay, I'm going to take a look at our data for the flu vaccine, and I want to create a new variable that has only the males in it by their insurance status. Okay, so the first thing I might want to do is I want to group together my variables that I'm going to be working with, make it a little easier for me to get around and find stuff. Okay, so I'm in my variable view. I'm using the simplified data set. I'm going to move to gender. Oops. If I highlight one row, I can drag it up to the top there. So I'm going to use gender or sex as its term there, and insured, whether that person's insured or non-insured, and whether or not they received the flu vaccine. So primarily those are my three variables I'm going to be working with. If I go into my data view, I notice that if I go into, well, my value labels are already turned on, and I only see ones and twos, so I know I have to code this information so SPSS knows what each number stands for. So now I go to my code book, and if I want to know what any of these things stand for, I can look it up in my code book. Like for instance, flu vaccine shot. Well, one represents that they received the flu vaccine, two represents that they didn't. We have these extraneous values that are variables we're not going to want. We're going to deal with that later on. But I can look up what sex means and which so on and so forth. And I'm going to go ahead back here and I'm going to go in and code this data. Okay, so I know for gender, for sex, I'm going to go into the values and I'm going to click on the values, and you'll notice a little gray box comes up. I can click in that. I'm going to let it know that 1 represents male. And again, this is from the code book. 2 represents female. And I'm going to say OK. So at this point, SPSS knows what this means. And for insured, 1 represents insured, and 2 represents uninsured. You can go back and check to make sure that I got these variable names right. I'm doing it from memory. I really should go back to the code book and actually look it up. The third problem that I have is with the flu vaccine. Okay, 1 represents vaccinated. 2 represents unvaccinated. I could have just called it yes and no. Okay, and then we have these other variables. Okay, let me go back and see what I can find. Here we go, flu shot. 1 represents yes, 2 represents no, and let's see, .d, don't know, and .r, refuse. Well, I'm not really going to use those anyway, but I guess I could, if I wanted to, I could just put them in here, .d. Excuse me, let's see. Actually, it won't let me put in those values, so I'm going to just say OK. Okay, so I'm going to cancel. I'll just leave that like that. Okay, so I'm going to go to the data view and just make sure this all took. And you'll notice that I have vaccinated, unvaccinated. I'll just see if I see one of those other values that came up. I don't see it right now. Maybe at the end. Maybe I'll catch a few at the end. That doesn't really matter. So now, what I'm interested in doing is creating a new variable that will allow us to separate these out to only the males, only the females by their insurance status. So I can set up a 2x2 table where the rows are insured males and uninsured males, or similarly insured and uninsured females, and the columns are whether or not those males were vaccinated or not vaccinated. Okay, so I need a variable that only has insured males and uninsured males in it. Doesn't include the females. These right now, This insured includes both males and females. Oh, and matter of fact, here we go. Okay, we didn't have a value for number 4, so it's actually going to be ignored by SPSS. So let's go ahead and create that new variable. Okay, so the way I'm going to do that is I need to create a new variable that has only males in it. Okay, but that gives me what their, but it indicates to me what their insurance status is. So I'm going to go over here to transform. I'm going to say recode into different variables. I want to make a brand new variable here. Okay, so the input variable here is going to be, let's see, we have it now, is whether a person is insured or not insured. Okay, and the output variable is going to be males insured. Okay, I'll give it a males insurance status. Okay, males, it's going to be males insured. So this is going to be only males now, by their, and whether or not they're insured or not insured. Okay, so I'm going to give these things values. So I'm going to say that if you're insured, you're a 1, just in the old values. In the new variable, it's going to be a 1 also. If you're uninsured in the old variable, a 2. In the new variable, you're also going to be a 2. Make sure you click add. Okay. So now I only want to carry over these values if the person is male. So now I'm going to say I don't want to include all the cases, male and females. I just want to include if the case satisfies the following condition, that gender, sex, is equal to 1. And I'm going to click continue. So what's this condition now? If we're only going to do this for the males, we're going to create a new variable called males insured, and that variable is only going to consider, we're only going to carry that over and create the new variable, carry the values 1 and 2 over for people that have a 1 under sex or males. So I'm going to click go ahead and change. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and do this. Okay, and let's see if we're, the output window comes up. We could actually use this script, and we can modify it slightly to make the changes we're going to continue to make going forward, but I'm not going to bother with that right now. Let's see if it worked out for us. Okay, so now there is let's see if there's let's go to a variable view. In fact, there is a new variable, male insured, okay, males by insurance status. And I'm going to move that up to the front here again. Move it behind vaccines. I'm going to go back here and take a look at it. And indeed, here's 4 males. Here's 4 males, for instance, and their insurance status has been moved over. This one's insured. This one insured, uninsured, and so on and so forth. 1s and 2s. Okay, the females are not carried over, because they weren't in the if portion of that condition. Okay, so there we go. Now you'll notice that it's not coded, unfortunately. So I'm going to go into the variable view here again, and I'm going to code our new variable. So 1 represents insured, and 2 represents uninsured. And there we go. Now we should see it. Okay, great. So we're in pretty good shape there. Now, we have males uninsured by their insurance status. Okay, so now I also want to take a look at what their flu vaccine status is, whether they're vaccinated or unvaccinated. Well, one of the problems that I have with the flu vaccine is that we have all these extra values for it that I don't want. Okay, that .d, don't know, and .r for refused. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new variable, a new flu vaccine variable. I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to go into transform, recode into different variables, except this time I'm going to just back that out. Okay, and I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say, I'm going to take that variable. I'm going to take that variable. Where is it here? Let's see. Vaccinated, receive vaccination, flu shot. That's flu vaccine shot. I'm going to create a new variable, flu vaccine shot. I'm going to call it 2. Okay, and I'm going to put on the label received flu vaccine. Okay, so now for the old values for this, well, 1 represents, the old value represents that they received the flu vaccine. I'm going to keep that. And 2, that's actually already in there, 1 to 2, that's left over from before. So actually I'm not even going to bother any further because it already is, the old variable has a 1, make the new variable value 1. Old variable 2, make the new variable 2. Okay. Okay, cancel. Okay, so now we're going to do this for all, instead of for just the for the males, since I'm going to use this variable later on too, I'm going to say include all cases. Okay, and I'm going to say go ahead and make the change, and I'll say okay. Okay, so now let's see what that's on for us. Create this new flu vaccine shot 2. I'm going to move this up here. Right in front there, right next to that mail insured. And actually I'll move it here. Okay, there we go. So let's take a look at what we have now. Now we have 2 new variables. One is only the status for the males, insured or uninsured, and the flu vaccine only carrying over the 1s and 2s, not the .Rs and the don't knows. So I'm going to go into variable view. I'm going to code this again. So for flu vaccine 2, the value 1 represents yes, they received the flu vaccine, and the value 2 represents no, they didn't receive the flu vaccine. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so here we are. Here's our 2 variables that we've created that we're interested in at this stage. So now we have the vaccination status for only the males, and the flu and the whether or not and the flu vaccine status for everybody. Okay, it really doesn't matter if I have only the males or females because I'm not worried about that right now. We're going to manage to deal with that in a second. Okay, so at any rate, let's see how this works out for us now. I'm going to go up to Analyze. I'm going to go to Descriptive Statistics Crosstabs, and I'm going to ask it to organize this for me. And let's see, in my rows, I'm going to have my new variable for insurance status, which only includes the males. Males insurance status, that's our new variable. And in the columns, I'm going to have my new variable for received the flu vaccine, ignoring those extra values for the variable. Received flu vaccine, that's flu vaccine 2. Okay, and I'm going to ask it to just show me, for the moment, the observed values. And I'll click OK. And let's see what we wind up with on our output table. Okay, well, here we go. We have males with insurance, insured males, uninsured males. Okay, and we have those that received the flu vaccine and those that didn't receive the flu vaccine. Okay, so, and we have a total of 3,651 cases. Well, actually, the total number of cases that we had was nearly 8,000, I think a little more than 8,000. So we can see that we only carried over the males for this situation, not the females. Okay, so it seems to have worked for us. Now, from this, you can go ahead and do your chi-square. You can do your odds ratios. and so on and so forth. Now, if you want to do the same thing for females, okay, for females, what you would do is you would go ahead and create a new variable for females insured and uninsured, and just wind up doing the same thing. Analyze, transform, recode into different variables, except now, and you have to back all this out, now you would go in here and you would go in and create your new insured variable again, except this one's going to be females insured status, and you would move insured or uninsured in here, and you would say only if sex is equal to 2 in order to create the new variable. So I'll leave that up to you to see if you can do it, and if you guys have problems with that, you can email me and maybe I can clarify a little bit if this wasn't clear enough. Okay, so hopefully that helped.